Hi, this is Corey McCarthy, and welcome to a new episode of Fit, Formidable, and Fantastic. That's right. Go F yourself, and happy Friday. In this episode, I want to address a topic that has come to my attention by a lot of questions I've gotten recently, and things I've seen recently on my Facebook feed also from people who are athletes and trainers. And something, of course, that I've dealt with in my time, and that is overtraining. And my take on it and what you can do about it, and even do to prevent it. So I'm going to break right into this. I got some notes I'm going to be following through with here. First of all, I want to say that it is my educated belief that overtraining is very real. There are some athletes and professionals who suggest that it's a myth. Maybe they themselves have never experienced it for one reason or another. But I've come to this conclusion that it is very real from both my personal experience and from the observation of others that I've known. And not just in weight training, but also in sports like martial arts and even dancing. Now, as an aside here, this video is really going to, it's going to hit in a mix of both anecdote and, some facts, some things you can actually read some research on. So, but there is going to be a degree of anecdote involved as well, because I've gone through this and there's some things I found have worked for me that maybe you could try out. But anyway, moving forward, I believe the timing of onset of overtraining and the symptoms will vary from person to person, and there's a myriad reasons why this would be, but some of them include, but aren't limited to, dietary intake, sleep volume and quality, training volume and frequency, drug use, like anabolic steroids, and even genetics and pre-existing health conditions. All of these things can play some role in the speed of the onset of overtraining and the symptoms. I believe that it occurs, and this is my definition of overtraining, and I think it's actually kind of a lot of people agree that this is what overtraining is. It occurs when exercise output exceeds your ability to recover from it. And that could be through any number of factors, but it's when your central nervous system becomes worn out, essentially. And it can lead to feelings, and this is what I've experienced when I have been through overtraining myself. It can lead to feelings of general fatigue, disinterest in working out, lowered sex drive, loss in strength, lowered immunity even. So I notice that sometimes when I've overtrained, I tend to be able to fall prey to colds a lot easier. And even depression, for those aforementioned reasons, and just general depression too, for how, just you feel bad, basically. So it's that lackluster feeling as well. And now, if you have overtrained, if you find yourself in a situation now where you are overtrained, or you believe you are overtrained, and you are experiencing these symptoms, and you can, from an educated point of view, can trace it back to training too heavily more than you can actually recover, then I recommend taking a brief layoff. Or cutting back on your volume and frequency if the overtraining symptoms aren't that bad, to allow more recovery time, basically, until the symptoms subside. So either a brief layoff or cutting back on frequency and volume until the symptoms subside. And that's something that is up to you. It's listening to your body. I can't give you a time frame. For me, I've fixed it up in a week to 2 weeks sometimes in a number of days, maybe 3-4 days, but others might take longer. But you'd be doing yourself a disservice not listening to your body and continuing to push through an overtraining scenario. I also recommend increasing your dietary intake to at least maintenance level in calories. Even if you're not lifting or training, at least maintenance level in calories. So you won't really gain weight, but you're not going to lose it either, but it will give you enough that your body can maintain itself. And according to Lyle McDonald, for instance, maintenance falls between 14 and 16 calories per pound of body weight per person, but I tend to shoot for around 15 calories per pound for my maintenance. You also want to ensure you get ample protein intake. for recovery and for tissue maintenance, and if you are still training to some degree, growth even. And the peer-reviewed research, the current research as of 2014, recommends consuming at least 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body weight a day. And you might even want to consider investing in a good quality protein powder. It's rich in the essential amino acids and the branched chain, especially the branched chain amino acids. And there's actually going to be a link that'll appear on the top of the screen to a really good peer-reviewed paper by Alan Aragon and a group of people. So I recommend you read that, and that's where I got those figures from. It's recent too. Moving forward, I also recommend you take a good multivitamin and mineral. And this will just ensure your diet has all the bases covered, basically. I'm not saying your diet has holes in it, but when you're in an overtrained state and you want to recover and you want to give your body nutrients that it needs, you want to ensure that there are no gaps. I also recommend you take L-glutamine supplement, dosing approximately 0.09 grams per pound of lean body weight per day. That's a good number. And the reason I suggest glutamine is because, based on research, athletes who are suffering from overtraining symptoms appear to have maintained low plasma glutamine levels for extended periods of time. And there is a study that appears on the top of the screen that goes into those details. So low glutamine levels are associated with overtraining symptoms. So it's better to supplement glutamine. And as you may or may not know, athletes do deplete glutamine faster than the average person. The average person who's a couch potato, for instance, might have a good amount of glutamine in their system, but an athlete will burn through that. It's been shown to be burned through when you're active. So I recommend supplementing glutamine. And that study I just showed you goes into the details as to why and how it relates to overtraining. Furthermore, I recommend ensuring that you get ample vitamin C to assist with your immunity and inflammation. The RDA for adult males is 90 milligrams a day, and for females it's 75 milligrams a day, but you can go as high as 2 grams per day and see how, if that helps too. So, work within that range there. And I wouldn't worry, vitamin C is a water-soluble vitamin, so you will just urinate excess out, so don't worry about overdosing vitamin C. I also recommend that you drink plenty of water. Just keep drinking water. Even when you're not thirsty, drink water. Because remember also, thirst can be a sign that you're already dehydrated. It can already be a sign that it's too late. You want to keep drinking. Sip water. You don't necessarily gulp it, but sip it throughout the day. Make sure you get plenty of water. You also want to make sure you get plenty of sleep, ensuring 8 to 10 hours a night, and perhaps get a nap wherever you can manage. I suggest the nap because I know some people might find it difficult to get 8 to 10 hours for one reason or another, but the nap might be able to help you fill in some of the missing time that you couldn't get at night. You might also want to consider using an adaptogenic herb supplement like ashwagandha, which has been clinically shown, for instance, to help with stress, anxiety, cortisol levels, and even reducing inflammation. In the case of ashwagandha, 300 milligrams per day, containing at least 1 to 5% of the extract, seems to be a suggested dosing, and there's a piece of research to read at the top of the, an article to read at the top of the screen up there regarding ashwagandha specifically. And moving forward, as I said before, how long it will take you to recover from overtraining is really hard to say. It depends on so many different factors. For instance, how badly overtrained you are, what kind of a state you're currently in, and of course the issues that I had previously mentioned that can affect overtraining. You might want to take those into account, like pre-existing conditions, for instance. And health issues. So there's a lot of factors that come into play as to how long it will take you to recover, because everyone's going to be different. But you're better off, taking special care to give your body a chance to recover instead of pushing forward. Listen to yourself, but be honest. You can only make matters worse and even set yourself up for serious injury and health problems if you don't. Listen to your body. And the supplement and tactics that I have mentioned also can even prevent help prevent overtraining as well. So there, you can try them when you're in an overtrained state. You can also try them to try to prevent overtraining, especially if you're in a program where you might be in a phase where you're overreaching. And overreaching is a technical term for using overtraining to try to elicit growth or strength responses in a program. For instance, an example could be training arms 3 to 5 days a week when they're a weakness for a couple weeks in a row to try to, force your body to respond if they're like a weak body part, for instance. Their overreaching is a valid tactic, and you might want to consider using some supplements to help you get through a phase of overreaching. But when people overreach, they don't do it for long periods of time. It's for a couple weeks at a time, and that's it. So it's like momentarily putting your body toward an overtrained state without actually, diving headfirst into it. Anyway, that's really all I have to say about that. I hope this might help some of you out there, and I know some of you are going through this. I've seen it on my Facebook feed, some people who are experiencing overtraining, or they're in overreaching phases of their lifting routine. So if you have any questions or have any comments or anything you want to add, please drop them below in the comments. Otherwise, you guys have a good weekend, and I will see you guys on Monday for the regularly scheduled episode. Stay fit, stay formidable, and stay fantastic. See you around.